Hi, welcome back to the channel if you're new here. My name is Aphrodite and this is Aphrodite's house. I am just cleansing my space and myself, especially for this topic of choice today. It's been a minute since I've done any sort of like astral projection series. So I get very I get super hesitant about doing this series just because I've seen a lot of stuff and sometimes some things are better left, not talked about. Um, However, this is not one of those things. Well, this is one of those things that I was told that I could actually talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and just. Sorry. I'm like really particular about my cleansing habits these days, especially before filming. So, the topic of discussion today is actually gonna be Stargates. I know it's one of a lot of people's favorite discussions. It's an interesting topic. I think everyone's just trying to get an understanding of Stargates in general. I will say that this is going to be quite an interesting story. So sit down, buckle up, cleanse your own space. Tell me if you've had an experience similar to this. I would love to know. Um, Sorry, I'm just trying to get this to light, and for whatever reason, today it's deciding it doesn't want to. Oh, and then when it does, it goes full force, huh? Okay. So, I found myself in this temple, in this pyramid, I should say. I found myself on the inside of a pyramid. And I was pretty confused. I was trying to get somewhere. I just knew that I had to get somewhere. I wasn't really sure um, what was going on the whole time. It was a lot of running, catching these sort of like really interesting elevator type things, but like not elevators. And what's really interesting is you would think that you would be going up, but you weren't. You were actually going down. That was the first thing that I think was shocking to me. When I think about stargates of any kind, I definitely think about them being more upwards towards the top of pyramids. This was not the case. I was specifically told that what's at the top is kind of there to, it serves its purpose as a really good distraction. What you really want is everything that's underneath. And I don't mean like at the base of the pyramid, I mean underneath. Like underneath. So basically, what was happening was I was going to these lower levels and I was really just sort of seeing how layered everything was, how layered and engineered everything was so perfectly that it flowed so easily, and it was so old and yet so modern at the same time that it just weirdly made so much sense. It just weirdly made so much sense. So I'm talking to a guy who's instructing me on how to squeeze through these particular tunnels to get down to the lower levels underground. Because at some point you have to stop taking these elevators and then you have to walk. So he's instructing me on how to walk, how to maneuver through these things. And, when you're astral projecting, when you're going anywhere, you question everyone that you get the knowledge from, especially within the moment, because you don't want to be tricked. You definitely don't want to go somewhere and then get lost, or get stuck somewhere. Um, there's a whole video I have to do on like these labs at some point where like black women and like men and maybe even some children, I couldn't even, I don't know how many people were there. Definitely we went into these labs and we were like in these labs wearing all white, and at one point there was like a break, like we all broke out like simultaneously. It was like a um it was so crazy. It was one of those things where it was like we're gonna meet here, and then we're all gonna charge. They can't get us all if we run up the door. I mean, it was nuts. So there's some crazy situations you could find yourself in if you're really not careful. So I'm taking these instructions, I'm internalizing them, I'm listening to them. But I also know that I'm pretty well guarded and pretty well protected when I do these things. So I'm not too on high alert. I don't feel unsafe as it is, as I'm getting the instructions. So I'm following the instruction because I feel safe, I feel secure. I know who kind of escorts me to and from these places. So I'm pretty, my team and I are pretty good with being like tapped into each other. They're pretty good at no 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 no, and I'm pretty good at this doesn't feel right. So like let me just go and like wake myself up. Um, so I'm walking down to these lower levels, and I'm unlocking. Okay, totally just tried to fix the setup so that I'm a bit more comfortable. So, um, going into these lower levels, I went into the lower levels and I went down, and this guy, could not tell you who he is. He reminds me of a scientist. He's very kind when I see him. He, he doesn't shake my hand or anything, but oh, it's good to see you again. Welcome back, welcome back. And he presses this button and he goes, "Are you ready?" And the doors open and I immediately start crying, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like it's still here. You're still here." And it's a star I mean, it's a Stargate, right? So like I feel so happy. I feel so, it's one of those instant sorry, I'm adjusting my mic. It's one of those instant situations where you know that this is one of those things that could take you home, or take you where you need to go. um I really had to collect myself because I was full on crying. I was full on crying. And the guy was like, when you're emotional and someone's like, "Oh, they're there, welcome back, but like I can't get too emotionally involved. I'm just kind of here to make sure you get through the gate, okay?" Um that's kind of what the situation was. If you hear that, that's the gardening guys doing the lawns and stuff down there. So I walk through the Stargate, and what happens is I'm greeted by someone who looks like me but isn't me. And it's a familial, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" because they look like me, but they're not actually me, but they're, me. So we're talking for a minute, and they're just re-explaining things to me because I seem to be out of the loop as to what's happening here. So they're reiterating, "You have stepped through the portal and it has brought you into your own mind. Congratulations, you have managed to step foot into your own mind." And I'm blown away at this point. I didn't realize. Now, you can meditate and like go into your subconscious and pull things out, pull things to the forefront that need to be there. Um, Especially when it comes to anything past life related, ancestral related. I know a lot of people, I don't know what the game is called, like Red Door, Yellow Door, where you go inside your mind and you look through your subconscious. I knew that stuff was possible. I just didn't realize that there were like portals dedicated to getting inside your own mind. This I didn't, or if I had any knowledge of it, it had not been brought to the surface. There we go. It's clear I had knowledge of it because the guy said, "Welcome back." It hadn't been brought to the surface. So he, she, me, we, very confusing, are in my mind, just talking about my mind. And it's the most interesting thing ever because there's these sections, and it's almost like my mind is so clean and tidy, but I'm not surprised because I'm a very analytical person. Um, I have plans for my plans, and my plans have plans. I'm very detailed, and I try to be as detailed and as coordinated as possible. Um, if I get anxious, I can tell you all the way down to the root of where the anxiety comes from, but I cannot myself cure it. That's how analytical my mind is at times. Um, that's crazy, right? That's obviously what ends up causing my anxiety. But my mind is so clean, and we're just kind of talking back and forth, and they're saying, you're very in your masculine right now. So this is the part of your brain that's in its masculine right now. This is kind of why you have your walls up. You're not being very nurturing and loving and soft right now. You're not in that co-creative space, that co-creative energy, and so you can go over here and you can kind of sit here with these books in the library of your own mind and try to understand it and move out of this energy, or you can go over here, we can do some more exploring. And so it was just so fascinating to me because I never expected to have a tour guide of my own mind. Now, I will say, if this is a fairly new experience to you and you've heard of something similar to this, but you've not yet yourself experienced it, I just want to say traveling within your own mind, within your own subconscious, especially when you're astral projecting, is risky. Much like playing subconscious games, you never want to go somewhere, walk through a door, or get lost, okay? It can be terrifying. There are reasons why there are people who are trained to go into your subconscious and pull things out for you and help you release them or bring the knowledge to the surface and just help you heal in general. Because you yourself do have the potential to wander off and get lost. Now, I've never gotten lost. And when I've asked what happens if I get lost, it's dead silence. Which, if you know anything about me or any of the conversations that I've had about my guides, they're loud. The deities who I work with are not quiet. So for dead silence to ensue means you don't want to get lost, you don't want to do it. Also, you never know who's creeping in your subconscious. I've heard stories about people who have had like past life lovers who just kind of refuse to let go, kind of poking around in the deepest parts of their subconscious, hiding behind doors and walls, and you accidentally open one of those doors and boom. Or you had something locked away and you accidentally open the door and boom. Or you wander off and teeter off somewhere, you walk in through a door, you don't have the key, and now you're stuck. You're locked behind this door. There's no way back. You have to figure out how to completely find new doors, open new doors to try and get back to where you were. I mean, it's a big, your subconscious is a massive maze. And anyone who tries to tell you that it's this really organized, beautiful, like, no, it's a massive maze. I'm telling you, you have floors, you have doors, you have libraries. If you can take a whole Stargate to get into the inner parts of your own mind, it just goes to tell you how vast the universe is. You can take a Stargate into your own mind. If that's not symbolic of you being totally connected to the universe in its entirety and all that it can create and just vibrate on, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm learning every day, and as a practitioner myself, as an energy healer myself, as someone who goes in and helps people really feel the energy and figure out where it needs to go, this was shocking to me because it was an experience that I have no recollection of ever experiencing before. Now, I'm not new to temples. I'm definitely not new to pyramids. I'm not new to underground tunnels, especially those underneath pyramids. that hold sacred knowledge, sacred hieroglyphs. I'm not new to any of that. I have been exposed to these things before. I have traveled to these places before. I mean, I've seen some wild things. I've gone to some wild places. So it's a lot for me to say I was really just shook. I woke up emotional. I woke up crying because I was just so in awe. I was just so in awe of how great the universe is, I guess. To say that I understand is just crazy because I don't. Uh, as a practitioner myself, like I said, I'm still learning. And these experiences are just, they drive me crazy in the best ways. I could not see myself living any other life. I could not see myself having any other grand experience. I could not. I love when I am shown these things, when I am exposed to these things, when I am able to experience these things firsthand and then bring the knowledge back to you, because I think a lot of us have these experiences and we like to believe we're dreaming, and I hate to break it to you, you're not dreaming. You've definitely just experienced this. It was definitely very real. You astral projected. Congratulations. You just might not remember the sequence of coming out of your body. That happens a lot. You get into a state of meditation and you're relaxed, and then all of a sudden you're having some grand adventure and you think it's a dream, and it's not. um Life is so great, magic is so great, alchemy in its entirety is so great. Learning about how you yourself are connected to the universe in so many ways is such a beautiful, blessed experience. I love every time I'm shown something new and then I'm able to bring it to you and share it with you and dissect it with you. Traveling requires a lot of shielding, it requires a lot of discernment, it requires a lot of fully trusting who's on your team, because they're who's looking out for you, escorting you, really making sure that you don't go behind those doors or peek behind those curtains that you have no business getting into. You need to know the names of these individuals, because if you're in trouble, you need to be able to call on someone. Saying help me is not enough. Now, I have a protector whose name I'm actually not allowed to say out loud. I've never been allowed to. I've never been allowed to share his name with anyone, actually. Um, he sits there. He's very stern, very present, very prominent. I know his name because if I'm ever in trouble, he's who I need to call on by name. So before anyone watches this video and decides that they want to astral project or decides that they want to really jump deeply into these experiences, I would suggest you get a better understanding of who's on your team and know everyone by name, because you're gonna need some help and you're gonna need to be able to call on someone if you ever find yourself in a tight spot. But yeah, I just really wanted to come on here and share my experiences with the pyramids, the Stargate that's actually at the very bottom of the pyramid underground, and how it was just such a crazy, beautiful experience. All the levels, all of these sacred geometry, all of the squeezing into these tight spaces, but they're not really tight. They just kind of seem tight because of how you perceive the energy and the spaces around you to kind of be manipulated when you move through. It was just so great. It was just so beautiful. So let me know if you've experienced anything like this. Let me know if you have ever gone through anything like this, or what. I'm so curious to know. Everyone's experiences can be kind of the same but a little different, so I would really, really, really just love to know. For those of you who came back because I took forever to upload a new astral projection series video, I'm so sorry. A lot of my experience to date have been crazy, and so I've been trying to be selective about when I share each story. I feel like there's a place and a time for every story, and I also don't want to just mindlessly pump out the videos, especially on astral projection. I feel like every video is a learning lesson and has valuable and important information, so I want to make sure that I'm sitting and releasing these videos when it's time, when the information definitely needs to be shared. I feel like a lot more people are getting into astral projecting or are understanding what's happening. So now is the perfect time to kind of talk about these things, and I just really wanted to get this video out there today. Yeah. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you don't like the video, I don't know that you liked the video, and it becomes difficult for me to know whether or not to continue to create content like this. When I get very little likes or interaction, I get very confused. I start to think that maybe you just don't like the work, so maybe it's something that has no business being up. I do not go based off of views alone. I go off of interaction as well. It just, you can click the video because you're interested, but then, not like it. Yeah, so let me know. And with that being said, I hope you have a great day. I hope you stay blessed. It was so great to catch up with you guys, give you all of the information that I could, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!